everybody, Brian here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the direction I'm looking at as I'm coming up to my last phase of my strategy development in terms of just relearning things and getting everything in order before I really start getting very serious about hopefully a final trading system platform. And I'm just going to talk about the considerations that I'm under right now, or I'm taking upon myself. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about is basically what languages and what platform we're going to develop this on. I've talked about it enough times. I'm looking at ultimately to deploy this thing on BSD, just removes a lot of latency and all that. Do a search on my YouTube channel for BSD to understand that. So actually, let me just do that right now. Okay. So if you come to my channel, what you can do is do little searches like BSD. You'll find all kinds of videos on BSD. Maybe I didn't deploy a video on it, but well, nonetheless, let's go to my blog. So if you go into my quantlabs.net/blog and do the same thing, there's a searching capability. So in my case, what we're going to search for is free BSD, and essentially what we're looking for is anything related around free BSD. So here you will see all the videos and all that related around free BSD and what I choose to deploy on free BSD versus Linux. And of course, there is a video somewhere in there. I think there should be. Yep, there is. Okay. All right. So knowing that, that's cool. So that brings me to this very powerful framework called Fastflow. Now, if you go into my playlists right here under my channel, you'll notice I have various videos on Fastflow multi-threading, and there's 4 videos. So you can watch these, understand why I really like this Fastflow and understand what I'm trying to do with it. So this looks like it's going to be part of my hopeful final trading system. With that in mind, if we go back to the SourceForge, in here, there's this chart, which is really important. Now, I haven't really played with any of these other libraries or framework, like OpenMP, TBB, and when you compare the performance of Fastflow in black here, you can see it's quite fast, and it's able to keep up with OpenMP as well. But when you look at the coding capabilities of both, let's say TBB or OpenMP, they can be quite daunting, whereas Fastflow is very easy to work with. And where that brings me to, if you go into the main site here, actually, let me just show you the files. There's 2 files here, but there is a recent update from November 2015, last year. So it's been updated recently, which is good. And then if we get into the site, where you can just do this, go under summary, and then in there you'll find the website right here. So that's what I'm referring to right here. So in here, if you come under home, you'll get the usual spiel, various documents. It's quite well documented. It seems to run quite well. And the other thing is the architecture. So what we're looking for are the patterns to use for building out these multi-threading platform or independent self-contained platforms. And part of what I'm looking at is to use this as a way, as a design pattern, not only just to design multi-threaded environments, but also to use them for actual live trading strategies. So these are the design patterns I'm looking at. Basically, there's different formats. You can just go through the documentation. As you can see, there's non-blocking. It does support CUDA, which is good. I'm going to show you why that's important. And it also supports FPGA-like hardware or similar performance, I would assume. But I'm not going to get into that. But it is a simple framework from the design perspective. So here's the core patterns that I'm referring to. And let me see if I can find that. But there's different, actually, maybe it's under here. No. But there's different format of patterns, like using farms or accelerators or different things. But under the tutorial, this is what I was looking for. So you have pipeline, you have farms, you have parallel mapping, and so on and so forth. Some really powerful combinations that you can design your strategy around that based upon how you want to build out your strategy. But again, this will entail using fully multi-threaded with the kind of performance that I've shown in this chart here. Now, that is awesome. Now, don't forget, for my Quant Elite members, if you haven't seen this yet, I'm pretty well sold on my Redis for both an internal in-memory database as well as message queuing capabilities. It's fairly fast, simple to work with as well. And between Fastflow and Redis, they're very powerful. And when I refer to Redis here, I've got, again, numerous videos. You can see why I like my Redis. I've actually shown my Quant Elite members, my current Python course, how to use Redis within Python, with some examples how to use it, as well as MongoDB. But between this and Fastflow, I think is a great combination, because you can get clients that works with Redis clients that bind with C or C++. Very clean and very, I'm thinking little bugs. So, knowing all that, the performance looks good. The coding's real easy, if you ask me, compared to some of the other comparative frameworks like TBB or OpenMP. This is much easier, Fastflow, what I'm referring to. So that's all cool. Now, again, I have mentioned that this will support, supposedly, and I've confirmed it, that this will use CUDA. So, you know, we're talking GPU boards, graphical processor units, and it does work. I've got numerous videos, as I've shown in my playlist, for the Fastflow. And that's all cool. Okay, so knowing all that, we can proceed now with the ability to support CUDA through the C++ multicore framework, open source, of course. Now, let me just show you some other stuff. There's just numerous examples. Just do a search for Fastflow, and you'll see all the search results on my blog about Fastflow. So I've already talked about the considerations for Fastflow architecture for an HFT-like system. I've also covered, played with it for both in Ubuntu, Linux, as well as Windows with GPU, and I believe I got that running as well. So there's a presentation here by the presenter on Fastflow and the details of it. I think that will be found somewhere on the site, as well as let me just see here. We've talked about Redis and the FreeBSD. Okay, so exciting times ahead from a software perspective, but here's where it gets really good. If you search for Dell on my site, most recent search result is what you're looking for. Is this kick-ass Dell Server Tesla GPU on Linux. Now, what we're talking about here is the ability, the math is very simple. Here, where I am local to me, we've got a decent little provider for this particular Dell server. It's $1,000. There are cheaper versions, but from what I see, this is pretty kick-ass. It will support, I think it has 60, how much memory does this puppy have? There you go, 72 gigs of RAM. So it's pretty powerful. It can handle all kinds of different drives. This particular system was built for graphic designers on Windows, very high-end workstation, or for video, and it's been built for that with some pretty hardcore chips like the Xeon with a quad core, and some very cool stuff. Of course, I want this to run on Linux. Now, that's not where it gets exciting. There's a video that I've listed somewhere. Yeah, this video review. This guy mentions it supports the Tesla C1060 boards, which are fairly high-end for their time. This right here is an Amazon link. I don't think this is active anymore, but at some point it must have cost $1,500. Now, we can do better than that. We can go onto eBay and look for that particular board. So if I go to eBay, let's say .com, and I type in Tesla C1060, I can show you the different prices for these boards. So here we have $100, some different pricing. Now, another thing I need to mention here is right now these kind of servers are not very useful if you're running them out of a home, because essentially these will take 220 volt, and they're not really designed for home, where most homes will have 110 volt. So you could fry the system if it's on. The hardware is looking for a 220. Excuse me, but all you're supplying is 110. So yeah, you need to be kind of aware of that. All right. So that's the server I'm looking at. Quite good. And be aware of that. So the boards themselves, these Teslas, basically they have over 12,000 threads. So let me repeat that. These have 12,000 threads each. So you can support up to basically 2 of these boards on board the server. So essentially you're going to get 25,000 threads available on the board at roughly 150 bucks, let's say. So you get 3 of them, that's 300 bucks. Maybe 250 each for the Tesla boards, the GPU, plus the server itself, 1,000 bucks. So you may be able to get this whole thing with maybe 25,000 threads for about $1,500. All right. So I just want you to be aware of that. And very cool server to potentially buy, running Linux and using something like a Fastflow for GPU, potentially HFT-like performance. So that's really good. So knowing all that, just trying to think if there's anything else I've forgotten about. Yeah. So enough blabbing. I've got a new virtual machine I've created on a VirtualBox. And basically I've got this thing building. The build process is very easy. When you download the files for Fastflow from SourceForge, here, if you, let's say, choose 2.1, this will include the documents that I'm listing here. So let me just move up 2 levels. So if you go under docs, once you expand that zip file, you'll get this document, the README, the Fastflow tutorial PDF, as well as in there you'll get the build me, which is really this file here. And to basically to install and get this working, you need some requirements. This stuff. Oh, that's for a Mac. But that's why I moved to Linux. Just like compile problems. So all I gotta do is just follow these instructions. It will build. As you can see in my build directory, if I go under tests, you'll see the number of bin files that get built during that make process and build process. So I'll just run a very simple one. So we're going to just run one of these guys just to show you that the build does work. And we'll say unblocking, non-blocking. So there you go, it's running. Again, all of this is explained in the playlist that I've shown earlier. Okay, that I'm referring to is go under my youtube.com Quant Labs, come under playlist, and again what you're looking for is a Fastflow right here. So if you go through these videos, you'll be able to better understand and get a better overview of these executables that can, or bin files that can be built in Linux. All right, so it does work, and it works quite easily, quite well. It's very, very advanced, and I just wanted to showcase that. And I'm actually going to be doing a webinar meetup on this, on the architecture of this, and basically get a live dialogue with people to see what they think of it. And that's all I want to show in this video. Hopefully it'll help you out. And sorry for a very low energy video, but realize it is 1:58 a.m. and you can imagine pretty tired from putting these things on. So hopefully that'll help you out, and I'll hopefully see you on my webinar, and if not, hopefully I'll see you in another video later. Thanks for watching.